Good evening and good morning, depending on where you are. Looks like we have a couple people in and out on the Hangout. Some video feeds are popping up now. And
good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me? It's Matt from Australia.
Got you loud and clear.
Good, thanks.
So we're going to do something a little bit different. I've been doing a lot of the talking the last couple sessions, so I'm going to let Bill do some of the lead work here. I think I've introduced him before. This is Bill Porter. He's the Deputy Technical Director for this event, and so I kind of wanted to get you guys to have a chance to know him as well. So we will go ahead and start. I know Bill's been working pretty heavily on this the light buoy component for us, so I wanted to give him a chance to show that to you and see what you think, and hopefully you'll have a chance to look at how to build one and whatnot from the site. So Bill, go for it.
Thank you. That's right. I've been trying to build the buoy and get the specs published for you guys to be able to create your own to test against. I don't know if you've noticed that there is some color flashing against our faces right now. We have the buoy prototype running next to us, and I can actually show you that. Here's the buoy prototype running next to us right now. There is that flashing back and forth, the main primary colors that your craft will have to observe, and then after 3 cycles of this, it'll play the game of life just as a fun thing to show you can do other things with the display.
During the competition, we won't be doing that.
No, we might do something if they answer the challenge. We haven't decided what to do. It'll be a surprise.
Sorry. There's color flashing against our faces right now. I'm hearing about 3 of the same things here, so I don't know what's going on. I can actually show you that. Here's the prototype running next to us right now.
I don't know if that's someone's microphone. Let's see if we can make sure everyone's muted. Give us 1 second, guys.
Okay, I think it's on now, so. Sorry.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just hearing a second echo or something.
Okay. Well, let me repeat. I've been working on the light buoy that will be used for the light buoy challenge, where the vehicles will have to identify the color sequence that's flashed from the buoy, and it's actually running right to our left here, which is why you can see it on the screen. And this is a video of it running on the table right next to us right now. I did actually go outside and test this today, because I don't know if anyone's expressed concern, but we were always a little worried about how bright this would be out in the sun. So I have some video from what I captured earlier today at about 1 o'clock local time. So the sun was somewhat overhead, but still at enough of an angle that I could get test video from it in front of and behind the sun. So let me go ahead and play that.
And we'll post these to the site after the Hangout.
Yeah, I don't know how well this will come through with the Google Hangouts, but I did post this on YouTube today, and I will post that link after our Hangout. Oh, we have another chat message. Oh, it looks good. Okay. So that's a little about the light buoy. I'm actually going to post a link at the end of our Hangout to all the hardware that I used to build that, including it's a couple Arduino cores that run the screen, and I posted the specifications for the circuit board, and I'm going to post the source codes that you guys can build your own to test against. And this will be symbolic of what we use in Singapore on the light buoy.
Any questions on that at this point?
Before we move on? No questions about the light buoy. Any questions from those watching? If you're watching the YouTube feed, you can still use the Q&A button to ask us some questions in the Hangout here. So feel free to send us some questions via that means as well. All right, I don't see any questions coming in, so I think we'll move on, if that's okay with you.
Works for me.
We had a question come in earlier about Wi-Fi and the need to use a technical director or a Wi-Fi connection to connect to us to give answers to the vehicle. And I think they were worried about the power level requirements for Singapore, because Singapore is kind of on the low end of maximum transmit power, and that's 200 milliwatts effective isometric radiated power for using Wi-Fi in Singapore. Well, I did do some tests earlier a few months ago to kind of quantify if that would be possible and what kind of performance we'd expect from a system like that. So this is a map of the test I set up here. Let me turn this off so you can see that. I went out to a distance of about 1 kilometer over water. So this is the line of sight I test against. It's across the water there. You can see from the measurement tools about 1 kilometer distance, which is almost double the distance we expect to see during the competition. So I figured if we can test it out to 1 kilometer and it's successful, it should work in the competition at much less rate. And at that distance, here's a screenshot of the built-in operating system to this Wi-Fi gear. Has a bandwidth testing utility tool built in. So I tested this repeatedly and got about 5 megabits per second reliably on this link. So this is a 1 kilometer link with the radios turned down to Singapore specifications of 200 milliwatts effective irradiated isometric power. And I was getting 5 megabits per second reliably. And this is in an environment that has about 20 other wireless access points coming from various marinas in the water, so it's a pretty noisy environment. The noise floor is up to about negative 87, negative 85 decibels. So it's somewhat noisy, and I was still able to test this link to 1 kilometer at Singapore transmission levels.
So I posted that question. I'm just trying to see, did you do a ping return? Like, was it mini packet drops over it? When you say reliably, I'm just more concerned about, you know, our Wi-Fi dropping out, and if you lose a heartbeat for however long, it could sporadically trigger abort mission. Well,
I did do some ping tests, and it was pretty reliable. I'll say higher than 95 to 97%. I didn't save those, so I can't give you a real number of what I tested against. I was more concerned with bandwidth. I don't see, even if you lose some heartbeats, though, they're not going to be penalized for that.
Right. So I guess are you saying that the way yours is set up that the if you don't receive the heartbeat message, the system
they transmit it. We receive it.
I'm wondering if you've got a telemetry feed coming in. You're worried about?
Yeah, well, I was under the impression that if you didn't receive heartbeats, you would terminate, or there'd be like, yeah, that'll be.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Now we're planning on terminating our, right away. If it gets to where it's a danger to the course or a danger to some of the elements in the course, we'd consider it. But we're not planning just if we don't receive a few heartbeats that it will terminate.
The original plan for the heartbeat was just to make sure that the channel is open, so that when you get to one of the challenges that requires an answer, we've already made sure that you can give us an answer. It might be good for them to transmit the answer a couple times. We wrote it in the rules specifically that we can get the answer multiple times for the same challenge, but we're only going to judge you against the last answer we received from you. So if you're worried about...
And in general, during the course, as you're traversing the course, you're going to be sending your heartbeat. Part of that heartbeat message includes which task you're prosecuting at that time, which ones you're going after. And so that's kind of how we can go back and we can see what you were working on, how you were doing it, as well as to be able to show the other people what's going on. You'll be able to see it on the screen where the vehicle is and what it's doing.
Okay, so thanks for that clarification, because I was under the impression, I don't know if other people were, that to me it was more of like a safety watchdog heartbeat where it would force termination and then admission if you didn't receive it. So that was just the way I interpreted it, but
okay, no, you'll need to have the heartbeat in order to be allowed to go to the water. So there's that aspect. We want to make sure that you can transmit where you're actually sending that data, because we need that to be able to record that to go back for the judges in case they need to go back and watch the playback or see what the craft did. So that's the main requirement. That drops out. Obviously there may be a couple packets here and there lost. Hopefully it shouldn't be minimal, and we've done everything we can to test in a cluttered environment. We'll be testing it again the next time we go over there to see how well that works as well in that environment. So we do everything we can to minimize the impact of some of the interference in the area.
So that's cool. No, that explains. I thought it was essentially a safety system heartbeat, but it's more of a information heartbeat.
It's just kind of tracking and able to see where we're going with it, and also which task you're on, and then give you the opportunity to be able to use that same channel to transmit your answers to those the two tasks.
Okay. Well, thank you for the clarification.
We may possibly have one of the requirements before pre-launch is that the person running the crane will have a device or a screen with them to make sure your vehicle's sending a heartbeat before we launch, just to make sure as a double check that you guys are connected to our network and it's available to be sending answers to. Because we don't want to put you in the water and find out later that the Wi-Fi is not working for you for some particular reason. So that may be the one of the few times that we're going to check just to make sure you're sending a heartbeat. To go back, you're welcome. To go back to the light buoy, we did get a question via the FAQ forums, and it would be possible to shield the light to provide better visibility. I don't think we've thought of that.
I don't think we had planned on doing that. There may be something at the the one that Bill showed is the first prototype. It'll be a little bit different when it's out there. The intent, I think we have a picture on the in the rules. The intent is for it to have a background, a kind of a white frame around it almost, for lack of a better term, that'll help kind of distinguish it from the other things around it. The shield, I'm assuming, Chris, you're talking about a shield across the top to kind of make it a little less prone to direct sunlight from overhead. And so we hadn't really thought about that. We'll look and see once we build the final version if that makes sense or if it helps. We don't want to make it such that a craft that has a sensor above that line wouldn't be able to see it. Mm-hmm. So it's not going to be that high out of the water. So we want to make sure it is visible, from the right height. Okay. So yeah, we'll look into that when we put the prototype together, the final prototype together.
Because we will be testing this in Singapore.
Yeah, we'll be testing it over there shortly, hopefully the next month or so.
Mm-hmm. And we'll be testing it with cameras, and we'll see if it's something that we need to look at adding.
Can I just ask a question related to the buoy as well? Is there only going to be one panel, or are they going to be triangular, so you can come from any side?
It will be triangular. I think we did release the buoy specification one-page document a few months ago, and it shows an overview of the buoy, and that's correct. This is this one panel for one of the sides. There'll be two more in a triangular fashion, so that you can approach it or you can circle it to try to find the side that has the best visibility or best shading from the daylight. It might not be a bad idea to circle it to try to get a better.
Since it is a buoy, it'll rotate a little during the day as the wind changes. So the intent was to be able to be visible from multiple directions. And the field for that will have, I think we said we're going to post the GPS coordinates for the box that it'll be in, so you'll be able to travel around it without entering one of the other parts of the course.
Does that answer your question? Perfect. Saw a thumbs up. Okay. I think the next topic we wanted to talk about, gas engines.
Yeah. Well, before we go on, were there any other questions so far? Based on we kind of flew through those first couple of topics, but those were some questions.
Yes, and again, the 5 people we see watching the YouTube feed, feel free to post questions via the FAQ.
All right, so we'll go ahead and talk. We had a question about using gas engines for the craft. There was or generators or something. Yeah, there was a section in the rules that kind of hinted at that was left over from my original drafts, and so we're going to go ahead and correct that. The intent is that only battery power is allowed for this competition. So we're not allowing gasoline engines or other types of liquid fuel. So it's all electric battery power that we're going to be allowing for this competition. I just wanted to put that out there. I've responded to the question as well. And so any questions or concerns about that? I know that was something I had missed in the rules. I'll post an updated version of the rules with that corrected.
It'd be cool if it was solar powered.
Yeah, still electric battery.
Yeah, break the rules. Maybe some hamsters. Well, those are the main topics we want to discuss. We're going to open it up to general questions. Does anyone have some questions about the competition that they want to ask?
So I'll ask. I've seen a couple other comments, and I'm going to pass this back to our webmaster. Are there any? Is anyone's? If you're still having trouble with the forums, go ahead and let me know. Send me an email, and I'll get that to the webmaster to see if we can't.
He's got something to say about it.
Oh,
yes, that was actually one of my final points for today. I've tried a couple of times to log on. I finally got last night onto the forum.
Okay.
And everything's locked down. You can't actually make a comment without making a new topic.
Oh.
Once you get on.
Okay.
So that's why I posted that question under the community yesterday and not on the forum.
Okay. That is good to know. That might be one of the glitches we're running into is permissions. So we'll have to try that and see if we can correct that.
And I didn't get the acknowledgement email to say that I've been added. I got the one to say that I've registered. I didn't get the one to say that I've been added to the forum after that. Which I assume you guys with permission or something to do that.
Yeah, we've been working through some of the bugs with that, and so the Google community is giving us a way to kind of use it in between. So we'll you can go ahead and post to the Google community, and we'll check that as well, and that way the other teams can see it.
We've gotten a few questions in via the FAQ forums. Two of the questions are the exact same thing from two different people. And they both basically say, do you have any more information about the hotel, and are there any group discounts available?
So they I'll ask that question again. I know that I'm making a note about that. They're setting up a block at one of the hotels for the teams. That's in progress. I think they're waiting on the hotel to submit the final contract so they can sign that and get that locked in. I know one of the teams did get a price a little bit better than ours actually for fewer rooms at one of the other hotels. I will go ahead and post that to at least the one that I've heard of to the community. 'Cause I don't know if everyone can get to the forum with that information, but we're working on a block and we're trying to get some a good rate for a space there. I mean, it's a relative term. It is an expensive place, so we're trying to get the best we can.
Okay, the next question is, we operate in an area of manatees and dolphins. Have you looked into seeing if sonar is safe for the marine life? Is there marine life?
I'm not sure what it's. So Marina Bay is a closed reservoir, yeah. So I'm not sure there's
it's fairly
manatees and dolphins or other mammals to be concerned with, and I think I don't know if it's out of the marine life. I'll ask, but at this, are you putting sonar in the water, or are you talking about the acoustic pinger?
We'll have to wait for them to post another question.
Yeah.
You guys want to discuss this? Please feel free to join the Hangout so we can talk about it, as opposed to using the FAQ. Yeah. While we wait for that, I think we saw another question come in via the chat.
Actually, I know the pinger is also being used.
Someone's using the YouTube stream. That might be a source of the feedback. You can't have the YouTube stream and the Hangout going at the same time. It doesn't like that, so that might have been the source of the original feedback. And yeah, it's usually about a minute delayed, yes.
So we had a question about the GPS. That's a question that's come up before. It's asking what is the accuracy of the GPS that will be used when we place the boundaries. The intent there is to use standard, essentially a standard handheld GPS. We're not trying to go to very ridiculous levels of accuracy on that. These will be floating items, anchored down and able to move a little bit, so there'll be a little bit of a watch circle. So even if we got down to very high resolution, there's going to be some movement on those. They're not going to be 100% perfect, since they will be floating in the water. So we're just going to go with fairly standard handheld GPSs, maybe even similar to what your cell phone has on it.
Mm-hmm. So we'll say cell phone level precision.
Yeah,
Maybe a little better.
well, handheld GPS is probably what, realistically what we'll go with. So that's okay. Go ahead.
I think he hit enter when he didn't mean to,
Oh,
because
okay.
it takes a few moments to respond to that. So we do have some questions. Some people have good stream of questions coming in. Please feel free to ask any questions. I think while we wait, I'll go ahead and get the link to the buoy stuff. Good.
So as Bill mentioned, he's posted the one new message up here. He's posted the information on the light buoy to his GitHub site.
This is to answer the marine life. The Army Marine Life is testing the pinger in our area.
So we posted the specifications for that. We have not tested that for the marine life in different in each of the different countries, each different areas. Chris, you're on the east coast of the U.S., right? I'll have to. I mean, I can look, but I would say that's something that you'd want to check. I've got a feeling those frequencies are outside of the band that affects them, but it's probably definitely something worth looking at, and it's fairly low pulse width, and with a frequency that I think, well, that might be close.
It's very low energy.
Yeah, that's true. It's low energy too.
I'm just not going to show this. It is very low energy. It runs off to 9 volts. I don't think you'll have much of a problem with the marine life, but I'm not the proper scientist to tell you that. I want to show you quickly. Yes, we are in Florida.
Yeah. Chris, what you might do is so the pinger that we're using is manufactured by Benthos. So I'm curious if you get a chance, I'll pursue it on our end as well. But if you take a look at it, if you're able to contact someone there and ask them what they know about that might be an option. And it's also a good question to go ahead and post onto the forums and or the Hangout if you can get to it. The community. I know there's at least one team that's got some acoustics people who are much more familiar with that, who might be able to answer that.
Did you want to show them this, or I know we're jumping around a bit?
Any other questions? And Chris, were you able to get what you needed out of that, or the short answer is we're not sure. We haven't looked in that because we don't have the marine life
issue in Singapore
that we're working with. It's a closed reservoir. And it sounds like it would be something that would be, the different teams would have to look into ultimately for their area, what marine life is there. But all right, I am not seeing any other questions. Bill, do you want to go ahead and show for a minute the website where you've got your
sure.
information posted? So this is the information on the LED display. So he's posted that link on the forum, and we'll show it to you on the screen here.
This is my GitHub account here. I've posted this up. I've called it the Easy RGB LED Matrix Driver. Bit of a mouthful. There's a picture of the display right there. There's a close-up of what I have running each particular module, because the display is actually made up of 4 modules in a row. So here's the 4 modules with the cascading cables here. It's a pretty easy wiring diagram. It's a fairly simple circuit board right here. It just takes an Arduino Mini, a Pro Mini, in each module, and then something of your choice. In this case, it was another Pro Mini, a 5th one, running all 4 modules of the display. So this is all posted. The code's posted for both the drivers and the master module, as well as the PCB files are posted as well. So you can go ahead and make these boards if you'd like to be able to build your own prototype buoy face, we'll call it, and test your system against. So hopefully that'll make it a little easier for the teams to develop and test against, and they'll be more confident that when they get to Singapore, that the vehicle can read the colors that they'll face in that environment.
Yeah, there was a question, I think, in the last hangout, or maybe the one before, about that, about the color, sort of, well, I mean, the wavelengths of the light that was going to be out there. So I'm hoping that by, being able to get your own hardware and build it, that should give you a much more accurate look at it.
There was a follow-up about the hotel group buy. They specified, I don't mean just for the individual teams, but the competition as a whole. Did anyone look at approaching an airline to regards and getting some of the sponsorship discounts for travel as well?
So for the first one, I will, for the teams, so we're looking for the competition as a whole at a block. That would be to allow for rooms at all one hotel for all the teams and at a discounted rate. I think that's what you're getting at is are we setting something up for the overall competition? And that was the intent, is a large block at one of the nearby hotels to allow all the teams or any of the teams who choose to stay for the competition, or anyone, I guess, really associated with the competition as well.
But we did not approach any airlines for sponsorship. I think it's up to the teams to seek out sponsorship at that kind of level.
Well, the travel and the transportation requirements are part of the competition. And so that's one of the things, is it's up to the teams to figure out how to get there. There's no judging on it or anything, but it's just that's one of the things is working out the budgeting and being able to do that.
It's one of the logistics challenges of the competition.
Logistics, that's a better way to put it, actually. Yeah.
All right, guys, post your questions. I mean, we could just look at my board, play the game of life all night long, but that wouldn't be very entertaining. So feel free to ask us some questions. Amir is requesting that we keep looking at the board.
Keep everyone mesmerized.
Here, how about we put it there?
Okay.
Very nice.
Is there any further development on the markers, the large markers, the placards?
So I've got a request going out for that for confirmation of the sizes on that. We're looking at finalizing the docking bay, the dock area sizes for the craft based on the hardware that's available for them to build it, and that will determine the size. What I'm hoping to do is to have the placard, the white background of the placard, to be the width of the dock. So we're notionally looking at about 4 meters for the width of the dock, and it's just, if we can find the components the right size, that's what they're working on right now. And then so that the placard will be about that wide and maybe say 3 meters tall. And the shape on there, we're looking at about 1 meter across for each of the 3 shapes. So that's the way we're looking at it right now. Once we get it built, we'll make sure it actually works and is viable for the competition.
We have another FAQ question come in, and I think I'll take this one. And hopefully I don't spoil anything when I explain this one. It was asked, what is the number of significant digits of the GPS value for the heartbeat message and other reporting messages? So we haven't set a number of significant digits for that, but can I explain what we plan to use with that? So I don't know if you've been to the other robotics competitions or seen them, but they usually do a live webcast or a live telecast of the final competition. What we hope to do with that heartbeat message that delivers your GPS coordinates is there may be an element of that broadcast where it plots your vehicle in real time on a map of the course, and we'll get that information from you from that heartbeat message. So if we want that to be pretty looking or clear in any sense, that we will need kind of an accurate number of significant digits from your reporting so that we can plot your position on the map accurately.
Right.
If it's too far off, you maybe jump around wildly, and that won't look the best for all the viewers watching the telecast. So I don't think we're still not going to set a requirement for that, but just to ask that you try to report as much as you can or feels a good representation of where you are on the course, because that's what we use the value for, is to show the audience on a map where your vehicle is and what it's doing.
And about the same. So the other reporting message is the same. What's the accurate position for the you're reporting the position of the pinger.
Oh, that's a whole different question.
That's you want to report that as accurate as you think you have it. So as we said, we're going to be using a standard GPS, so we'll do our best to get it as accurate as possible for that. But there is margin of error in GPS as it is, so we're going to minimize that the best we can. But it won't be down to the centimeter.
That's almost a follow-on question, and that's going to come out when scoring comes out, is what kind of scoring do they get for how close to the actual pinger position do they report? So that's almost a separate question, because that's the only time accuracy I think is going to really matter for reporting GPS.
The only time when it's going to be in there, and we're working out we're working with the judges to try and work that out as best as possible. But again, that's going to be the judge's decision on that.
So just on that then, will you be having a GPS on board the buoy if it can swing by a few meters, for argument's sake?
Will we have a GPS on the buoy?
On the buoy for the pinger?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For the if we're going to report the location for the buoy or something, or the pinger. Well, the pinger's a bit different, but yeah, like.
So for light buoy, you're reporting the color pattern.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, not the position. So I just realized. Yeah, we won't have one on there, but for the pinger, we'll have the position when we deploy it.
Yeah. And that might be a misunderstanding of how we think we're going to deploy it, because do we want to say that we're actually going to make them rigid to the bottom and not free-floating in the water columns? I think he was worried about it swaying, being free-floating in the water column.
There will probably be a little bit of movement in there, but but it won't be too significant. No, we're going to try to minimize the movement.
No wind effect, so yeah, I think it'll be.
And again, we're in a reservoir, so there's no water currents or much turbulence at all in Singapore. Even if it is free-floating, it's probably not going to be moving unless it's dragged by the vehicle.
So we had a question about the kill switch document. We are working on that. That one, I apologize again. That one is one we're struggling to get the details correct on. Fundamentally, we should be able to get that done by the end of next week. I think just to get final confirmation that system the approach we're looking at will work. There's been some delays on that, and we're trying to get that closed out as soon as possible.
Yeah, well, we can tell the gist of it, like we have been telling, right?
Yeah.
The gist of it is that we want some method where a follow or support boat can either reach over with a hook, do something that causes the thrusters to turn off.
Either hit a button or disconnect something or something that's fairly straightforward, fairly easy to do in case of something going wrong. That's for the one on the vessel. There'll be the other requirement is the remote one. That should be a very simple, very ideally
control button.
Yeah, not some keystroke command on a laptop or something like that. It needs to be something that you'd be able to hand over to the judge to have, and just
some controller that's hit this to stop the vehicle.
Very obvious, very easy. We don't want to make it too complicated or make it so. You also don't want it to be so easy that it's accidental either. Oh, I accidentally touched it and it stopped. So just be thinking about that.
No sneeze kill.
But there's an element of creativity we're looking for in that skill switch. We're trying to find that balance between enabling the level of creativity and making it a safety issue, keeping everything safe,
keeping it reliable.
And yeah, that's as well.
We had another question come in via the chat here. Will the standard GPS used by the technical directors be using the differential GPS to correct the GPS data?
You mean for when we give the positions of the target, the fields? We probably will not. We'll probably use just a standard off-the-shelf, fairly inexpensive GPS. We're not going to get one that's going to give you 20 meters of error. We're looking at maybe a meter or two of error, I'm guessing.
This question might be if it's using does Singapore have like a WAS?
The Harbour Marine has got a differential station, I think. So at least that's what I saw on the link that we had posted last week.
So if that's a normal commercial use differential signal that commercial GPSs will have.
That's true. It may draw from that too. Yeah.
I think our GPS will draw from that as well, if that's a normal thing. It doesn't require any special licensing or permissions. If it's broadcasting that's for commercial private use, then we'll be using it as well, probably.
Yeah, we're not going to go and try and get really exact high resolution down to the centimeter performance. We're going to use what's available fairly inexpensively, fairly easily.
Yeah. Again, we don't want you driving by your GPS. This is supposed to be a vision sensor competition.
Yeah, interacting with the field. So there's definitely going to be enough. I mean, we're not going to introduce error, but we're not going to try and make it dead center exactly this.
Yeah, centimeter position.
Yeah.
It's all about the sensors.
Perception.
Let's see if anything else has come in the FAQ. The Q&A. Oh wow, it's already been 40 minutes. Oops, another chat message. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Beginning to think a lot of our competitors are all blue, since they don't show their faces. All right, ask your questions. Do you have any questions for the team tonight?
I have one that I was going to ask is for the next hangout, we want to try and deconflict and avoid as much as possible. The week of the 20th, if we do 22 May.
Any holidays on that?
Any holidays that we know of.
We need yay and nay from everybody. 22 of May.
Or as many as possible. Okay, there's one. So let me throw this out there then. While you guys are thinking about that, I'm curious to know, what are the biggest challenges right now that you guys are running into from a technical point of view? What are things that you're working on that I guess are causing you to think the most, or causing you to struggle with the most? If you're, assuming you're willing to share them, I'm curious to see if any of the other teams are having the same issues.
I'll jump in. I suppose the main thing is just really logistics, but moving equipment around, just due to the size. But I think from a technical perspective, we're having trouble sourcing a Pinger system, and we're hoping to maybe build our own as a pseudo replicate just to start testing. We're just having some trouble with some suppliers and stuff at the moment.
It delays in. Is it difficult to buy, or is it delays in actually receiving it? Is there a time delay from when you order to when you receive it?
Well, it just seems to be because we're going through a third party. They go through a third party here, so just getting responses on different things and stuff.
Okay, so it's a lag in the system trying to get the purchase done.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was one of the reasons we wanted to get the Pinger out there. I mean, not just that, we wanted to get the components out there as early as possible so people could be buying them as soon as possible. So we'll continue to get as much as we can out as quickly as possible. I think at this point most of the hardware that they might need to use to build components is now on the site or on the community. The unknowns might, at this point, maybe the structure of the tower and the structure of the dock, but that's
we've released the rough dimensions of both the systems.
Yeah, the rough dimensions are out there. They will not look exactly like they are in the pictures, but we're going to get as close as we reasonably can.
Okay, so we'll answer this one first because this is relevant. We've been running into problems with the visibility of the light buoy and sunlight. Were you using the panels that were released, the panels that I showed you to my left here, or what were you using to produce the colored light during your tests? I don't know if we'll get an answer from Chris there.
Chris, while you're answering that, I'll answer your other question. You asked about if we're using a handheld GPS, that the GPS units on the boats will likely be more accurate, and how will that impact judging? So the only component that requires accuracy in position is reporting the position of the acoustic pinger. And so we're going to try and build that in. There will be some margin for error in there. I'm off the top of my head, I would guess there would be some ranges. For example, maybe if you're within 5 meters or within 10 meters or something like that. That's something we have to work out with with depend on the judges to kind of come up with and work out the best way to do that.
He followed up my question. He said, "Yeah, we use the panels you specified, and I guess you're still running into problems."
So are they washed out? I guess, or are they? I know when you were playing with them, you noticed there was a lot of current draw, and you had to use a little more powerful battery.
The power supply to power those panels, they draw a lot.
Yeah, we've got a pretty big battery that we're using to run ours.
And even then, that's still about 80–90% of the brightness it could be, because that battery's dropping out a bit when it goes to some of the colors.
Okay.
So it's going to be even a little bit brighter than that. But we'll go back to this video real quick to show you. Here's our testing of it. I don't think it's going to play. But you know what? That's the wrong screen. There we go. So I shot this video with my still camera, my Nikon still camera. This is not a cloudy day. This is direct full line of sunlight. You can see the shadows there in the video, and you can see the colors.
So this is just afternoon, around 1300. Actually, today, I guess.
It was today.
So yeah, it was. So that's one of the things we want to look at. So we will once we get out there and actually run it in Singapore in the full configuration with the 3 panels, we'll look and see if we need to do any kind of shading or anything above it. They'll be built into a setup that should be out there. It should be visible. We'll be driving around from a distance. So you'll have the GPS positions of the box that it'll be in. So we'll make sure it's visible at least within that range. I've got a feeling it'll be visible throughout the entire course, but we want to make sure we've at least got it visible throughout that part of the field.
Yeah, you might have to approach it to get close enough to it that you really see the light. You may want to circle it to try to find the best shading sunlight direction. There may be other things you have to do to really get a good view of it. But this is still a real-world test of trying to traffic lights on drawbridges and things like that. You need to be able to see that to whether or not your vehicle can go through. So that's what this challenge kind of models.
So one of the things we're also avoiding doing is...
I think someone might be talking, but they're muted.
There you go.
We found the distance. We tend to take video away from the boat, and especially if sunlight's behind us, it's washed out. So that's why we asked the question.
Okay. So when the sunlight's behind you, and there's direct sunlight on the device, it seems to be pretty washed out.
At least from the small amount of testing we've done here, yeah. Okay.
So we will have to look into that in a little more detail. Now we did it with an overhead sun, and
it was still enough of an angle that you could see a difference a bit in the video. And again, it's multi-phased for a reason, so you could always circle the buoy and get on the other side, and then hopefully that one isn't washed out because it'll be in the shadow of the sun.
But we will also look into if it becomes necessary. We'll look into putting a top monitor.
If it really just makes sense for us to go ahead and do that, we'll just go ahead and put like a traffic light hood around the top of it to try to help with the shadowing a bit, at least during high noon symptoms or in some of the midday.
Pretty close to the equator. You'll have a lot of overhead sun.
That's true.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and take a look at that. Thank you. If you've got it, it might be worth posting some of that video as well. We can take a look and see what we can do accordingly.
Yeah, feel free to post it to YouTube and send us links, or to send the team links using the Google Plus community or the forums.
We'll get on that. We've got we're at the AUVSI conference this week, so
Okay.
maybe we've got a down week, unfortunately.
So you're in for a remote location.
Yeah, going from Daytona Beach to Orlando, it should be rough.
Yeah, 10 more minutes. Any other questions for the teams? I'm sure there's no more FAQs we might have missed. Could you please repeat where we could get the instructions circuit code for building that light buoy? Do you know what? I'll just go ahead and post it on this event page, and I'll post it on the community page so you have the links there.
So yeah, so it'll be on the community in general, and it'll be specifically recorded as part of this event.
So we've posted that link, so now you guys should have that link in several places.
So let me ask again: besides, I know the obvious, the points breakdown and the judging criteria, are there anything else that would be valuable to have in the rules that I don't, that isn't covered at this point? We're trying to refine that and get that a little bit better. Once we have judges, we'll be able to start getting from them the points breakdown. I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks we can start putting pieces of that into the rules. As soon as the judges are finally selected and put that together. But is there anything else that would be valuable to have in there and have the kill switch?
The kill switch. Well, is there anything holding them up, building the vehicles?
Yeah, that's probably a better way to put it.
I see a head shake, so no from that there.
All right.
Has everyone been out in the water and got their boat driving around on its own yet?
We're watching some of the videos of a couple of teams. They're pretty good. All right, I think.
Can I just make a suggestion then? We've been posting some videos. I know Embry Riddle have been posting videos. It'd be good perhaps to try and link them maybe from the competition, the RobotX.org, and just all the YouTube videos, just so. Because I've been trying to find some of the other teams, and I can't find much at all. So.
Oh, you mean post the team videos on the competition website?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just create a link page, where we can ones that you know about. They just go to YouTube and bring them up. They're good watching, I think, some of them. So.
Oh, they are. Yeah, they're pretty fun to watch. Yeah, so I'll put that in. So I know some of you sent me the links before. I'll just put it out there in general. So go ahead and send me the links, and I'll get those posted to the RobotX site, just as a general hey, broadcast message now. Some of them I know will be duplicates, but hey, that'll get them all in one place for me, make it really easy to pass them along to get put on.
I would say anything that they want us to post, they should put it in the Google Plus community.
Well, good, yeah, that, or send it to me directly, and I'll go ahead and get those posted to the main competition website.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great. That'll make it easier for us to find them too, because I always have to go back to my email and find it. All right, I think.
Well, it's about time.
Yeah.
No one else is going to ask me some questions.
That was an easy one.
Yeah.
Go ahead and post questions. I know you posted a good one that was about the RF environment. That's a good thing to be thinking about. It's one that we were thinking about, and did definitely influence our decision on how to do that. It's based on something that's been used in another competition and adjusted and adapted for the admittedly challenging Wi-Fi environment. I'm not seeing any other questions, so I think we will
we'll end it there.
Go ahead and close it out, and we'll look for any emails or posts on the sites. For those of you having trouble with the forum, go ahead and send me a link, send me information. Otherwise, we've got the community here, and it seems like it seems to work pretty well. So we'll go ahead and continue to use that as well while we get the forum bugs worked out. Thank you all. We'll go ahead and post the next forum when we get that set up.
Yeah, the next
hangout.
All right, have a good night, guys.
Have a great morning. Yeah, great day. Good Friday. Cheers.